We have a new filing. Trump is asking the Supreme Court to save him and to save him quickly as a result of his double losses he suffered regarding his tariffs. As we know, both the International Trade Court and the Appellate Court have said that he has unlawfully imposed tariffs despite the fact that Congress has both constitutional power and retains statutory power under the International Economic Powers Act. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's break this down. So Solicitor General John Sauer, Trump's Solicitor General, filed a very large brief with the Supreme Court. Essentially, the basis of the argument is, now that he's done it, shouldn't he be allowed to do it? He points out the fact that undoing the tariffs will cause harm. How much harm it will cause? Well, sometimes that's what happens when you act unlawfully. Now, not only does Trump say this in his filing, but we have heard this articulated by Trump and his cabinet members. Scott Bassinet said on public news that the Supreme Court shouldn't rule against Trump in relation to the tariffs, not because they have any legal sound basis, but because the tariffs are so much that they should not be declared unlawful. Take a listen.
Great. And as you just announced earlier, Wall Street hit a new high. And within the next year, 2 years, Main Street's going to hit a new high, too.
Okay. Some bits and pieces here. If the tariff court wins on appeal, you got other ways to put this trade and tariff policy together?
Well, very good. Framing here would be if the tariff court rules against us, it will immediately be enjoined. So the tariffs will likely continue. Then it will go to the Supreme Court in October. Then we would expect a ruling in January. But I tell you, Larry, the amount of money that's coming in here, I think the more deals we've done, the more money coming in, it gets harder and harder for SCOTUS to rule against us.
Now, just for a moment before we go into the filing any further, let's just break down that argument that the more deals he's done, the harder it is for SCOTUS to undo it. So basically, if you cheat really well or you steal very well, then somehow the court should give you leniency. I'm afraid that's not how it works, not for ordinary people, and it shouldn't work this way for Trump. Now, John Sauer, in his filing to the Supreme Court, quotes Trump himself many times. Now, this might work well on Fox News and might work well on X, but the fact is, when you go to SCOTUS, the more extreme you are and the more arguments you make that are just outright lies or kind of ridiculous in nature isn't going to serve you very well. I mean, of course, you have Justice Thomas, maybe even Justice Gorsuch in this, that are going to side with Trump. Like, no matter what happens, they'll side with Trump. But you have those swing voters. You have Kavanaugh, you have Roberts, Barrett, that you have to actually try to convince. You have to actually give them an argument that they could use, even if they want to side for Trump. So let's just take a look at what they did. So as we know, let me just break down what's going on here. As we know, Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress sole power to impose taxes, to impose duties, and then it has Article 2 powers for the president, including foreign powers, some of which they have to have consent from Congress, such as entering into treaties, etc. Now, John Sauer concedes the fact that the congressional act at issue, the IEEPA, is meant to give power to the president or to the agency, the Commerce Department, to impose tariffs in emergency situations. He himself quotes in his brief, he said that it is satisfied because it prescribes a general policy for presidents to pursue to, quote, deal with any unusual and extraordinary foreign threat to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States during a national emergency by regulating importation of property, among other things. He doesn't argue that emergency is needed for Trump to impose his tariffs. He outlandishly argues that there is an emergency. And he quotes Trump earlier in the brief to describe what that emergency is. He says, to the president and the most senior advisors, these tariffs thus present a stark choice. With tariffs, we are a rich nation. Without tariffs, we are a poor nation. According to the president, quote, 1 year ago, the United States was a dead country. And now, because of the trillions of dollars being paid by countries that have so badly abused us, America is a strong, financially viable, and respectful country again. The president predicts that if the United States were forced to pay back the trillions of dollars committed to us, America could go from strength to failure the moment such an incorrect decision took effect, and the economic consequences would be ruinous instead of unprecedented success. So essentially, he has his argument for, yes, this act requires there to be an emergency. But there was an emergency, justices, because we were a dead country, despite the fact that all the economic data shows otherwise. Our economy was in much better shape when Biden was still president. As I've gotten older, I've gotten pickier about the moisturizers I put on my skin, and I've started using neck cream. I really like Go Pure. It is thick. The consistency is great. Oh, you can see it's almost done there. But it also, even though it's thick, it absorbs onto my skin so well. I love even just rubbing it into my hands after I've applied it to the neck. And the great thing is that it is has great ingredients. Like specifically, it is paraben-free, sulfate-free, cruelty-free. So you know that you're giving your skin clean, effective care without the harsh chemicals or compromises. And GoPure isn't just about transforming the skin on my neck. They have a full line of science-backed skin and body care to tighten, lift, and smooth skin from head to toe. From powerful targeted body creams to deep hydrating retinol moisturizers, every product is packed with clean, effective ingredients that deliver real results without the harsh chemicals or hefty price. GoPure over-delivers on value with over 100,000 real women with real results. I use it every day. With over 1 million jars sold, this beauty secret is no longer a secret. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off GoPure with code MISTRIAL at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com, use code MISTRIAL, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about GoPure, tell them it was from our show. As we know, inflation has gone up, jobs have gone down. Small businesses are the ones suing under this act, not Democrats or some sort of Democratic lobby, but small businesses are suing because it's saying it is hurting their business. So this is difficult. It's difficult for even the Kavanaughs or the Roberts of the world who may want to side with Trump because they can see with their own eyes that we weren't a dead country in December 2024 and somehow that these tariffs were unnecessary for the in order for our country to survive. But yet that's what John Sauer quotes because that's what Trump wants him to quote because that's the MAGA line. But the more extreme you get to the Supreme Court, you may, as you could say, overstate your argument, as a lawyer might say, and that could very well backfire. The other very interesting part of the brief is there's a question of the major questions doctrine, which is essentially saying that if there is something that is very important economically or nationally, then Congress keeps that power unless it is specifically giving that power. And they try to argue that doctrine shouldn't apply because this isn't about the agency imposing the tariffs, but about the president. And this is what they say about the president, that Congress delegates authority directly to the president. That is, quote, the most democratic and politically accountable official in government, end quote. I wonder how many of the justices, even if they believe in this powerful executive, believe that this president is the most politically accountable and democratic official in government. I mean, as we know, they are going to also be getting the case relatively soon. The Judge Breyer just declared Trump's use of the military and troops in Los Angeles as unconstitutional. This is the least democratic official in government, perhaps ever. But this is still an argument they're making to the Supreme Court. So this is what we have right now. They're arguing. They say, again, left undisturbed, the decision below would, in the president's view, again, quoting Trump, unilaterally disarm the United States and allow other nations to hold America's economy hostage to their retaliatory trade policies. That's the whole argument of he's already done it. Let him do it. But the fact is, the reason why Congress retained the power is because they didn't like it when Nixon and other presidents unilaterally did this. It creates more chaos, more harm for our businesses and our relationships with other countries if a president who changes every 4 years decides to change their policy without going through Congress. Trump himself knows this. During his first term, he imposed tariffs, but he did it through Congress this time around, despite the fact that he says that he has had so much, power because of winning the branches of government. He chose not to go through Congress, creating the kind of havoc and chaos this act was specifically meant to deter. So this is what we have, just the opening filing from Solicitor General Sauer. He's asking the court to hear the case by early November. The small businesses are also asking for a prompt decision. What happened in the lower court is they declared the tariffs to be unconstitutional, but they paused their order, allowing the tariffs to go on during the rest of the appeal. So the small businesses also want this case early. They're saying that this uncertainty is hurting their business as well. So be sure to free subscribe if you haven't already. We will give you updates on this and many other important issues to come.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.